codeIt now. Create an int array named num storing the values 1, 3, 4, 5, and create a string array called IceCream storing 3 types of ice cream flavors. Print out a statement like the one given below by accessing values in your arrays. So the example they give us is we bought 4 strawberry ice creams. So we'll even write our code to print out exactly this same statement. So now we can switch over to our JGrass window, start a new file with Control N, enter to select Java. Then we can go back to an old file, just copy all the contents. Control C to copy, go back to our untitled window and Control V to paste. And let's change the date because that is no longer the correct date. And we can change the name, so we're no longer talking about allowance. In this case, let's just call it IceCream. And we also have to change the name for the class declaration, so IceCream. And we're not going to need our import statement because, well, we're not going to be using any user input since it's not specified in the codeIt now problem statement. All right, and now we can get rid of the old code in the main method, so that way we can start writing our new code. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is create an int array named num, so let's do that. So int array num, and personally I prefer to, when I declare my arrays, I prefer to declare them like this, int followed by the brackets and then the name, and this is just because doing it this way, you get a sense of exactly what the type is, so it just reads very naturally. So int array num, rather than having something like int num array. But either way, you do what works best for you, and the important thing is that you want to be consistent with whichever method you use. All right, so int array num equals, and since we're given specific values that we want to fill in, instead of using the declaration where we say something like, or the instantiation where we say something like new, int, etc., we're just going to use the curly braces. So I'm just going to put the curly braces in right now with the semicolon so I don't forget to do it later. And then we can fill in the values. So we want 1, 3, 4, 5. All right. So that's our int array. And then we want to create a string array called IceCream storing 3 types of ice cream flavors. All right, so we're going to do string array. Remember, string is capitalized. And the name should be IceCream. Okay, so IceCream equals, and again, we're going to use the curly braces. So we're not given any specific values, but they want us to use 3, ice cream flavors of our choosing. So I'm just going to go for some standard flavors. And one of them will be strawberries. So let's just say, let's just say vanilla. And remember, you want to use quotes for this. Vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. All right, perfect. All right, so now the last thing we want to do is we just want to print out a statement where we're accessing values from both of these arrays. So for this, we're just going to choose, some random particular value. So I want to try to copy the same statement they made here. So since they have the statement printed out, we bought 4. So 4 is the 1 to 3rd element in the num array. But remember, arrays are 0 index, just like strings are 0 index. So instead of 3, it's actually index 2. So 0, 1, 2. So I want the second index of num. So let's just start writing that print statement out so we don't, forget. So system.out.println. All right, and so we want to say we bought, and we got to make sure to include that space, plus, so then we want to do num, and then remember to access, we use the brackets, and like we said, we want this index 2 to get the number 4, so we can get the same example that they showed us, plus, and we want the rest of our strings, so, oh, actually here we go straight away to the ice cream flavor, so we don't need this quote. We can get rid of that. Instead, what we want to do is ice cream and we need to figure out which index. So in this case, they use strawberry, so let's try to do the same thing. So strawberry is the first, second index, but remember, it's 0 index, so this is actually 0, 1, so it's index 1. Okay, close the bracket. Oh, and actually, we are going to want a quote. I almost forgot. This would have been bad, because we want a space. Because otherwise, we would get something that says, we bought, and then the 4 and the strawberry would be together. We need that space in there. Okay. And now we can move on to the rest of the statement, which is just ice creams. All right. Now we can close the quote, close the parentheses, and of course, don't forget your semicolon. And I think for this, we don't really need any comments because it's, pretty straightforward code. So I'm just going to save, accept the defaults with enter. Then I'm going to compile it with Control B. And there we go, compiled with no problems. And then Control R to run. So there we go. We bought 4 strawberry ice creams, which is exactly the same as the example. So we definitely indexed our array correctly.